Priya. I'm from the commerce background. As far as faculty-oriented education system is concerned, it has its own pros and cons. Like it is good to some extent, and it has its own pitfalls to some extent. Like it's good regarding the theory subjects. Those sections are very interactive. The lecturers give us the seminars. They held seminars. They asked us to do the presentation on different topics. They asked to do the seminars and all. It's very interactive. We do different kind of presentation. We come to know about new things about the subject. So as far as theory subjects are concerned, it's very interactive. But regarding the practical subject, it's not that interactive. These sessions should be made more interactive. Like the practical subjects like accounts and QT are concerned, these are not that interactive. They are not that communicating. The lecturers are not communicating with the students that much. They just give the illustrations on the board and leave the room. That's not their job. They have to do. They have to communicate. They have to ask the student about the ideas regarding the subject and all. So as far as the practical subjects are concerned, I suggest there should be more. It should be more interactive, and the lecturer should take. They should interact the students. That students interact with them, and it should be more communicating and all. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Swati from BCom Honours Stream, Bhadrika College. Currently, I'm pursuing the course. Regarding the current system, that is the faculty-oriented system, to some extent the system is very good, but to make it more effective, we can probably make some changes. As in, the interaction of the students should be more. The presentations from the students should be more. The faculty members should guide the students after the presentation is over. The atmosphere of the class, rather than dull, a lively class should be created, and the presentation system, according to me, is very good, because in this the children will come up with new points. They surf the internet and everything. They collect information. They have a past experience collection. The book which is published 10 years back, the information is very less. When the presentation thing is over, the lecturer can guide them what are the points, what are the things they can include it. As the student itself is doing in the thing, the memory power to collect it is very good. No doubt the faculty oriented and student interaction is the best system. If little changes are made, it can be more effective.
I'm Akhil, BCom Honours final year from Bhadrika College of Commerce. Present system is the best system, I think so, because lecturers will help the students in getting the overall knowledge. Indeed, students are very much intelligent, but lecturers do give them very good knowledge. The words of every lecturer will go into the minds of the student, which will help the student in actually recollecting all the knowledge. Present system is the very good system. Few things have to be changed, like system of good lecturers actually will help the students.
And I was a student of this college, and now I'm teaching here, so to a very large extent I can very safely say that this college is not, when it comes to teaching, lecturers here don't just have a kind of monologue in the class. It's more of a dialogic process wherein students participate, and there are opportunities given to students. We have different clubs, we have different forums which can be utilized by the students, wherein they can express their opinions, and there is a lot of practical exposure which is taking place. But then again, the point has to be made that there are very few educational institutions where this kind of thing is done, and at the university level, when it comes to examination, they just test the students on the basis of what they write in the examination paper, which again is a very big drawback. So I basically feel that that is the area which has to be changed, because to a very large extent we are judging a student on what he or she writes for 3 hours on a particular day in the examination center, which to a very large extent will not give you the total picture of what the student has learned throughout the year. So there should be some kind of a grading system which will also take into account what caliber capacity a student has, rather than what the student can reproduce on the examination paper. So this is the biggest drawback in our present day education system, which I feel, and to a very large extent the education system has to see to it that it makes the student more curious so that even once they leave their degrees, once they finish their degrees, they should still be curious to know more things on their own rather than just to study to get a degree. Thank you.
Hello, I am from St. Anne's College for Women. Been here for the last 20 years, associated with the Department of History. Now, student-centric learning is very imperative for a subject like mine, especially history. Everyone is aware what kind of misconception is associated with history. People do run away mention of history, but it is inescapable. And in this context, what I would like to say would be the fact that it should not be given as a series of information, a statistical data of what has happened. It will be much better if we instigate the curiosity of the student, make he or she search for information, probably experience, or what I would like to say would be a more of a kind of, not provide an incentive, kind of a not only development of curiosity, but instill in the student a quest for learning, especially the art of appreciation, a comparative study, and also linking the present with the past. Now, this cannot be done within a classroom. There has to be a lot more of forays made into outside world so that they get a first-hand experience, hands-on experience on what exactly history is all about. So, especially with regard to social sciences, what we would say is the classroom teaching is outdated. It has gone long out of the window ever since the British have left us. But unfortunately, the Woods Dispatch of 1857 is still carried on in 2008. There has to be a change, but like my colleague, young Shilpa, what she pointed out is very, very relevant. There is no point in us bringing all kinds of changes if the examination system is not changed. After all, the final analysis, the bottom line at the end of the day, the students are judged on what he or she writes, not what they have learned.
Dr. Sneha Gupte from Department of Microbiology. I am associated with St. Anne's College Microbiology Department for last 18 years. And my experience as a teacher of science is we believe in learning science by doing science. So everywhere, wherever we have students associated with learning process of microbiology, it is participatory and interactive. All concepts in theory are explained by demonstrations, and only thing I feel is if the student-teacher ratio is smaller, we can still bring that more interaction and more participation.
I'm Mrs. Rani George, a senior faculty in the Department of Nutrition. I'm in the teaching line for past 20 years, and always teaching and learning is an ongoing process, both I think for the student and the teacher. Well, coming to student-centric learning, I truly believe that there should be both are equal partners in the process, and to make the whole teaching learning process an interesting experience, I feel there should be a lot of interaction, participation, and make the students involved, and at the end of it they should enjoy the learning. It should not become monotonous, and that's what we try in our college. Ours is a NAAC accredited and we have got A grade, and so our entire, though there's a big paradigm shift in our teaching learning process, and we especially in Department of Nutrition, we have a whole lot of activities. We give students a lot of assignments, projects, and they present seminars in the class, and we have a lot of community activities where they have to take nutrition to the community and to see the need of the people around. So they actually formulate low-cost recipes, and they go literally demonstrate and distribute to the people and teach them. So they really get hands on experience, and so which I can very proudly tell at the end of it, they literally fall in love with nutrition, and they do take up jobs as dietitian and nutritionist in various health institute. So from the feedback which we get from our students is that they have enjoyed learning nutrition, and they have come up successfully in the field of nutrition. So definitely I vouch for student-centric learning, and which we had been successfully doing in our college, and still I know there is room for improvement, and we need to work more on that.
I'm Dr. Malini from the Department of Political Science. Like my colleagues just now were pointing out that we have almost now shifted to student-centric activities. I can say that we have been doing that right from the beginning. I've been here for the past 20 years, so I know that I have almost, I think, experimented with all student-centric activities. Because I come from the background of political science, the students just listening to lectures would not help them, so they are all the time associated with community service. And then depending upon what papers we deal, we have students participating in mock parliament sessions, then a mock election we have, then we have surveys, the students doing and collecting information from them, surveys particularly which help them just before the elections too, opinion poll. Just recently we had this opinion of the people regarding separate Telangana, I mean all the current issues. Then our students participate in intercollegiate activities, so they also volunteer to be judges, etc. So that gives them more exposure. So mostly what I feel is the students, whichever subject, either it could be sciences, social sciences or commerce, they have to have a holistic approach to the entire thing. Now these barriers of discipline should disappear. So most of the time what we have focused on interdisciplinary approach. We also try with the science, commerce, like political science. Recently we have had a faculty level seminar with commerce department. We can take some common topics like we did on WTO. Like that history, political science and biotechnology, microbiology department, we are working on bioterrorism and health. So it's not that we are just having these kind of barriers of a subject, then we are not getting a holistic picture of anything.
I'm Mrs. Kavita from Department of Commerce, associated in this college for the past 24 years. And when the question arises about the present education system, one thing that I would like to talk about in context to our country, the quality of education is something where we need to work on it and enhance it. And secondly, that I would talk about is, apart from faculty oriented, as everybody suggests, we need to have student centric activities, and this is what we are trying to do for the past, right from the inception of the institution, as my colleagues have said. And especially with respect to commerce, we feel that the student should be exposed to the practical working, the corporate world, where we always view as from classroom to the corporate world, the student should be exposed to the various realities of the functioning of the various organizations, and that's where the department has got a full-fledged commerce lab which is nowhere as on now. And this lab motivates the students as well as gives the practical exposure of conducting the various units. We do have various simulation programs, we do have cooperative stores run by the students, we do have the banking simulations, the stock simulation. These are all nothing but student-centric activities where the students learn on their own, and that's how we see that there's a lot of development in the overall personality of our students.
Vita Asthana, I'm from Department of Chemistry. I did graduates from last 24 years, and well, I love teaching one, and over the years we have seen that we have graduated from the chalk and talk method to various use of audiovisual aids and student participation, and we have been very successful in this kind of programs. As far as some difficulty or maybe something we should progress to more of networking and teaching online in discussion using all these computer techniques, so that small groups are there and students should be able to access the teacher at any amount of time or at any time, so that whenever they get a doubt, the teacher is accessible to them. More student-centric education is student-centric, and all said and done, it is left to us teachers to motivate the students by setting up the best example. I think the moral system, the fabric of a student youth is really going down, and I think as teachers we have to be those perfect role models to inspire the students. So if we read well, if we are learned and experienced and motivating, I'm sure students will follow, irrespective of place or whatever.
India's education system, if you have to analyze in the last 10 years, maybe 3 or 4 important trends that have actually changed or maybe reshaped India's education system, what would those 3 factors be?
I think the main thing is today the most conspicuous feature is the extreme shortage of high-skilled manpower. We keep talking of this large pool of manpower, but actually if you look at the rate of turnover in Indian companies, in IT companies for instance, in engineering companies, it is often 25 to 30%. Similarly, the pace of increase of salaries, both these facts testify to a great shortage of manpower. So I would think that a much greater emphasis on higher technical education is necessary in India. Second feature that is conspicuous is the collapse of standards. In many institutions that have come up, they are just teaching shops. You can almost buy degrees through many types of institutions, and that will give us a bad reputation. In any case, whether our reputation suffers or not, we would not have the desirable type of person that we require. And this cannot be remedied by governmental institutions alone. Therefore, if I had any access to finance ministers, I would urge them that you please give 150% tax credit to any commercial house which can set up a university or a technical institution, and you prescribe the standard. You have external people to monitor the standard, but give them the opportunity to invest in education.
So is there any need for...
Fourth point,
yes,
I think, is that we have, for instance, a great shortage of teachers. Therefore, we should use information technology, new communication devices, so that the best teacher is able to give the lecture and every college in the state is able to hear it. And the local teacher just gives the tutorial. So such things should be...
Do you see that's going to happen in the next 10 years, 15 years?
I think so, because this shortage will become so intense that there will be pressure. In India, the political class is so weak and so much a prisoner of old shibboleths that it will not do the obvious thing till a breakdown. That happened in economic reforms.
Yes.
This will happen also in the education sector.
So do you see or do you make out a case for a student-centric learning system now, from a faculty-driven system that we used to have for almost for a few decades now?
Could be, but see, I would not know what a student-centric means, but the student himself will be able to educate himself. That certainly is a tendency. For instance, the access that students today would have to information via the internet was not available to people of my generation. We were therefore more dependent in a sense on our teachers. Here, I was just reading a book called What Are You Optimistic About? It's edited by John Brockman, in which an MIT scientist is describing that he's never been to a school. He's come straight to MIT. All his learning was on his own from the internet.
So in which case the faculty role is going to change dramatically?
It must change. Otherwise, faculties will be becoming a big constraint on the development of the type of person that we require in India. They must change the type of instruction that they are giving. For instance, if I can look up the facts, what is the point of my memorizing the facts? It may also be that analysis becomes so routine that it is imagination which should be developed, so that you may want to have courses in art and music appreciation and things in which there is no single right answer. There are many answers.
You're supposed to handhold them and tell them, look, I think these are all the possible options or the answers. But yeah, I mean, you are...
No, but I think that this can only come from a multiple discourse. It cannot come from a government knowledge commission or from one little body. You know, another Kothari commission on higher education. That's not going to make a difference. It is this cacophony of new ideas and discourse circulating, and from that some seed will take hold.
Students, any advice that you should give to the students?
I always hesitate to give advice to students because there's an arrogance there of knowing better. They don't know better. But two thoughts on it. One is there's a very interesting Frenchman who fought for free France. And later in de Gaulle's cabinet he became Minister for Culture in France, perhaps the first one. He wrote, he taught André Malraux, and he said, I try and catch the rainbow, both ends of the rainbow at the same time. If you reflect on it, it's a remarkable thought. The second thought, another philosopher called Arthur Koestler, who said, I'm appalled at the views that I held this morning. So, for the students, don't be rigid and fixed in your views. A river is never rigid or fixed, it flows. The sky is never rigid or fixed. And the third, which is, as a student body, as young men and women, reach the horizon. You can. If you keep thinking, I can't get up to the horizon, then you won't start. Thank you.